Welcome back, students. Take your seats, grab your notebook, and for heaven's sakes, stop sanitizing your hands for 5 seconds. You're killing the guests of honor. Welcome to episode 2. Today, we are embarking on a microscopic safari. You know, humans have a bit of an ego. We walk around thinking, I am me, I am a singular individual. I hate to break it to you, but you are not an individual. You are a bus, a wet, warm walking bus. You are a super organism. Today's lecture is titled, The One Probiotic Strain You Need to Know About. But before we get to the one, we have to understand the many. We are going to dive deep, past the stomach, into the neurology of the gut, through the dark alleys of pathology, and finally into the VIP lounge of bacterial strains. By the end, you will know more about your digestive tract than your gastroenterologist. Well, maybe not more, but you'll certainly be more fun to talk at parties. Part 1. The anatomy of the Holobiont. It's not just poop. First, definitions. What is bacteria? Biologically, they are single-cell prokaryotes. No nucleus, just DNA floating around in a cytoplasm soup, wrapped in a cell wall. They are the oldest life forms on Earth. They were here billions of years before us, and they'll be here long after we've uploaded our consciousness to the cloud. Now, the microbiome. We used to think bacteria only lived in colon, doing dirty work. Wrong. You are covered in them. The cutaneous microbiome of your skin, Staphylococcus epidermis, is currently throwing a rave on your forearm. It's actually protecting you from pathogens. The oral microbiome, your mouth, Streptococcus mutans. If you don't floss, they build skyscrapers of plaque. The auricular microbiome. Yes, even your eyeballs have bacterial ecosystems. But the main event, the GI tract, we host about 38 trillion bacterial cells. That is roughly a 1-to-1 ratio with human cells. You are 50% bug. These bacteria are not freeloaders. They are rent-paying tenants. They modulate our immune systems. About 70% of our immune system is the gut-associated lymphatic tissue. They synthesize vitamin K and B12. They digest fiber we can't touch. But here is where it gets spooky. They control you. We call this microbiota, gut-brain axis. Your gut bacteria produces short-chain fatty acids like butyrate, propionate, and acetate. These aren't just waste products. They are signaling molecules. They travel through the blood, cross the blood-brain barrier, and tell your brain to feel happy, sad, anxious, or hungry. Recent research, I'm talking papers from 2021 and 2023, suggests that specific strains can modulate the HPA axis. That's the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis. That's your stress center. Dyssymbiosis, or an imbalanced gut, creates a leaky gut, which leads to a leaky brain. If you are feeling brain fog, it might not be your head. It might be your lunch. All right, medical students, buckle up. We are going to perform a verbal dissection. I want to talk about the enteric nervous system. We call the gut the second brain. That is not a metaphor. It is an anatomical reality. The ENS contains 500 million neurons. That's 5 times more than you have in your spinal cord. The ENS is embedded in the lining of your gastrointestinal system, from your esophagus to your, the exit. And it is composed of 2 major networks. Our plexuses. Imagine these as 2 different electrical grids running through the walls of your house. Then we have the myenteric plexus. This plexus is sandwiched between the 2 layers of muscle and the inner circular layer outer longitudinal layer. The analogy, the enteric plexus is the traffic controller, and the job is the motility, peristalsis. It controls the rhythm and force of contractions. When you hear your stomach growl, that's your myenteric plexus working the shift. If myenteric plexus goes on strike, you get constipation. If he works too hard, you get spasms. Then you have the submucosal plexus, also known as the Meissner's plexus, named after George Meissner. This lives deeper in the submucosa. The analogy, the Meissner is the chemist. The job, it senses the chemical environment within the lumen. It controls local blood flow and mucosal secretions. It tastes the food and decides how much enzyme juice to squirt out. The connection, the vagus nerve, cranial nerve number 10, connects the brain stem to the ENS. But here is the kicker. 90% of the fibers in the vagus nerve are afferent. That means they send signals from the gut to the brain, not the other way around. Your gut talks more than your brain does. The ENS uses over 30 neurotransmitters. In fact, 95% of the body's serotonin is found in the bowels, not the brain. Let me repeat that for people in the back. Your happiness chemical is largely manufactured in your digestive tract. If your factory, the gut, is on fire, you cannot expect the showroom, the brain, to look good. Part 3, pathology and etiology. When the factory explodes. So what happens when the ENS and the microbiome fall off sync? Let's look at the common etiologies. Some causes could be diet. The obvious one, the standard American diet, also known as SAD, is high sugar, processed fats. This feeds pathogenic bacteria like Candida or Clostridioides and starves the good guys. Sleep, circadian rhythm disruption. Your bacteria actually have their own circadian clocks. If you don't sleep, they get jet lagged. This alters their motility complexes in the gut. Stress, high cortisol inhibits the vagus nerve. This shuts down digestion. If you eat while running from a tiger or answering stressful emails, your body stops digesting to focus on surviving. The pathologies, IBS or irritable bowel syndrome. This is essentially a communication breakdown between the brain and the ENS. The nerves become hypersensitive, visceral hypersensitivity. A gas bubble that a normal person ignores feels like a knife wound to an IBS patient. SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. The small intestine should be relatively clean. The large intestine is the party zone in SIPO. The party moves upstairs. Bacteria fermented food too early, causing massive bloating. Leaky gut, intestinal permeability. The cells lining your gut, enterocytes, are held together by structures called tight junctions. Think of them as shoelaces. Inflammation undoes these laces. Zonulin levels rise, bacteria and toxins leak into the bloodstream. This triggers systemic inflammation. The rare one, Hirschsprung's disease. This is congenital. A child is born with ganglion cells in the distal colon. This ENS is missing in just a small section. Result, the bowel cannot relax. It's a blocked highway. Part 4. Prebiotics versus probiotics. The fertilizer and the seed. How do we fix this? Nature provides a solution. We need to distinguish between prebiotics and probiotics. Prebiotics, these are non-digestible fibers. We cannot eat them, but our bacteria love them. The analogy, prebiotics are the fertilizer, or better yet, the packed lunch you send with your worker. Sources, inulin, chicory root, Jerusalem artichokes, garlic, onions, leeks, dandelion greens, asparagus. The mechanism. When bacteria ferment, these fibers, they create those magical short-chain fatty acids I mentioned earlier. Probiotics. These are the live microorganisms themselves, the seeds, the workers. Some sources could include kimchi, sauerkraut, kefir, miso, natto. Some notes: pickles made with vinegar are delicious, but they are sterile. You need salt and brine fermentation for the bugs to survive. Now, how do prebiotics become probiotics? Technically, they don't transform. It's not magic, it's multiplication. If you have a tiny colony of bifidobacterium and you feed them inulin, prebiotic, they replicate. 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, you're growing your own garden. Without the prebiotic fertilizer, the probiotic seeds die in the soil. Part 5. The case for supplementation, aging and beauty.
But Professor, you ask, if I eat yogurt, why do I need a supplement?
2 reasons: dosage and survivability. Most bacteria in your food die in your stomach acid. The pH of 1.5, that's battery acid. To get a therapeutic dose to the colon, you often need help. Why bother? The anti-aging link. Let's talk about telomeres. Telomeres are the protective caps on the ends of your chromosomes, like the plastic anklets on shoelaces. As they age, they get shorter. When they are gone, DNA frays and cells die. Recent studies show that chronic systemic inflammation, often in the gut, accelerates telomere shortening. A healthy microbiome reduces oxidative stress. It preserves the telomere length. The gut-skin axis. You want glowing skin? Forget the $500 cream. Fix your gut. Acne, rosacea, eczema. These are often inflammatory signals from the gut. Probiotics improve insulin sensitivity and reduce lipid peroxidization, leading to what we call the probiotic glow. Part 6. The roll call of strains. All right, class, this is the heavy lifting. I am going to run through the most common strains you see on the back of supplement bottles. I want you to know who you are swallowing. We have Lactobacillus family, the lactic acid producers. L. acidophilus, the grandfather, found in yogurt, good for lactose intolerance and vaginal health. It produces lactic acid, creating a hostile environment for bad guys. Lactobacillus rhamnosus, the traveler, one of the most researched strains in the world, excellent for preventing travelers' diarrhea and boosting vaccine response. Then we have Lactobacillus casei, the brain booster. Studies show it can help regulate mood and decrease anxiety via the vagus nerve. Lactobacillus reuteri, the heart helper, known for reducing LDLs, cholesterol. And interesting fact, it's been linked to increased oxytocin, the love hormone, and even thicker hair growth in animal models. Then we have the Biobacfidum family, the colon dwellers. Biobacterium longum, the peacekeeper, one of the first bugs to colonize us as infants, great for stabilizing the gut lining and reducing inflammation. Biofidobacterium bifidum, the immune sentinel. It adheres to the intestinal walls and fights off invaders like E. coli. Biofidobacterium animalis, subspecies of lactus, the mover. If you are constipated, this is your friend. It accelerates transit time. The specialist, Saccharomyces boulardii. Trick question. This isn't bacteria. It's a yeast, but it acts like a probiotic. It is bulletproof against your antibiotics. If you are taking antibiotics, take this. It fills the empty parking spots, so C. diff doesn't move in. Akkermansia municipilia, the new kid on the block. You can't buy this easily yet, but it feeds your mucus layer in a good way and encourages the gut to make more mucus. It is heavily linked to metabolic health and leanness. Part 7, the grand finale, the chosen one. We have talked about the anatomy. We have talked about the common strains. But I promised you the one strain you need to know about. So here it is. The one strain you need to know about. The problem with most strains I just listed, Lactobacillus, Bifidobacterium, is they all are fragile. They are snowflakes. Heat kills them. Time kills them. Stomach acid, anti-inhalants. By the time you swallow that empty capsule, 90% of them might be dead. Enter the Spartan warrior of probiotics, Bacillus coagulans. Why is it superior? It is a spore-forming bacteria in nature. When conditions get tough, Bacillus coagulans wraps itself in hard, calcified shell. It goes dormant. It essentially turns itself into a seed. It can survive boiling heat. It can survive freezing cold. And most importantly, it laughs at your stomach acid. It passes through the stomach 100% intact. It only wakes up or germinates when it hits the alkaline environment of the intestines. It arrives alive every time. The research lasts 10 years. Longevity and inflammation. A 2018 study showed it significantly reduced C-reactive protein, a major marker of inflammation and aging. Protein absorption. It produces enzymes that help you digest protein. If you are eating steak or drinking protein shakes, this bug helps you actually use that protein. IBS relief. Clinical trials have shown it is superior to placebo in reducing bloating and abdominal pain because it produces L-lactic acid, the good kind, and coagulin, a natural antibiotic that kills pathogens. It is the Navy SEAL of your microbiome. It doesn't just visit, it drops in behind enemy lines, sets up a base, and cleans house. Conclusion. Eat your fiber, feed the locals, manage your stress, don't scare the locals. And if you are going to a supplement, look for the spore forming. Look for Bacillus coagulans. Your gut is your engine, your pharmacist, and your second brain. Treat it with respect, and it will keep you running until you are 100. Thanks for joining me on this episode of The Art of Longevity, Learning the Secrets of Youthfulness. If there's someone in your life that you know could benefit from learning more about probiotic strains and which one to take, share this podcast with them. Thank you so much for watching and joining me today. Subscribe, give it a thumbs up if you're on YouTube, and I'll see you in the next one.